Hey guys, I'm back at you with another one of my rideshare reflections. I know I had been promising you guys that I was gonna uncork one of my harrowing stories, so I got one for you today. Okay, this happened 2 years ago, and I got a ping to pick somebody up in town, close to Howard University. I know most of you guys know where or know what Howard University is, but it's in the Shaw neighborhood, which is not too far from Howard University. And so I picked the gentleman up, and he's going out to what I call Area 51, which is the most dangerous area in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So he's going out there. And yeah, so I pick him up. He immediately gets a call from someone asking him, how long it's going to take, what time he's going to be there. So I hear what's going on in the conversation. I just spin my head around and I tell him 38 minutes. He relays that to the person he's talking to. So that's over. We're driving along, having light conversation, blah, 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 whatever. The person calls back in about 20 minutes, right? And the person is talking to him, and I usually don't listen to people's conversation, but I like to be aware of what's going on around me. And the person sounded very urgent. So then I decided to go ahead and start listening to what's being said. Now, these youngins think that they're the first people ever to sell drugs. So they think they're using some kind of code and all that. Yeah, some of the slang might have changed or whatever the terms they use, but you can still tell. If you know that life, you can still tell. And I'm listening to these, it's like, okay, whatever. But I don't care. I've taken people to deliver drugs, pick up drugs. I've had people in my car who I know had drugs on them, guns on them. So, that's not a big deal for me. So anyway, the person asks again, and I tell him, look, about 15 minutes. He relays that to the person. The person, has some more, yelling for him, whatever. So we get going again, and we had to go on an avenue called Burroughs Avenue that's in lower northeast DC, right? So he lived on a street called Galt Place. Galt Place is a right turn off of Burroughs Avenue, but Galt Place is such a tight right turn that it's almost like making a U-turn, right? So I'm on Burroughs and I'm coming up, finally make it up to the light at Galt Place. We're there waiting to get the light to make the right turn. The person calls again. And my passenger's like, bro, we about to pull up. Damn, right? So I made the U-turn, not a U-turn, it's a right turn, but it's very tight. I made the right turn on Galt Place, started heading back. When I'm going up the street, there's two guys leaning against a car on my right. But that's not out of the ordinary, especially in Area 51. People are just hanging out there all the time, and just normal, it's cool, no problem with that. So we pass those guys by about a few car lengths, pull up to the address. The address is on my left, so on the driver's side, right? So I pull up to the address. Just then, somebody pulls up behind me in like a Charger or something like that, and he refuses to wait even 1 second, not even a second. He lays on the horn. So I said, normally I would just make him wait, but in that neighborhood, you never know. So yeah, so I moved up and I moved the car to the right so that he could squeeze by. Now, when I moved the car to the right, I ended up with the car so close to the parked cars that my passenger, who was in the passenger seat, had to scoot over to get out. So my passenger scoots over from that side to right behind me to get out of the car. As soon as he gets out the car and closes the door, I'll never forget the sound of the door closes, and all of a sudden, the two guys that were leaning up against the car outside that we just passed by, they both pulled out weapons and opened up, and projectiles were just flying all over the place. Now, that was back at a time when fireworks were very popular. So when I first started hearing the pops, my mind wasn't making the connection. But then a couple of them whizzed past my ear. And I was like, wait a minute, I know that sound because I'm like really into like watching documentaries about war and stuff. I've heard that sound on a Vietnam documentary. It's just like, picture like a bee or a some kind of bug buzzing by your ear, but like to the 1,000th power, just like zing, zing. And the guy ran across the street and he dove behind a parked car, and then I just started seeing the projectiles just bouncing off the bricks all over the place. And I got out of there. I checked the news the next day. I didn't see anything, right? But one thing I do know is if he survived, then that man who was calling him did not survive. And that's because it was a setup. Those two guys who were leaning up against the car, they were hit, man. And that guy in the Charger, the car behind me, the guy who was an a-hole, who refused to wait just 1 second, who laid on his horn and made me move up and move to the right, that guy saved my life. Because if my passenger had left on the passenger side and started to go around the back of my car, then the projectiles would have come right through the car, right? They would have come right through my back window, right through my car. And believe me, there was many of them. They were just popping like firecrackers. And so, yeah, that's the story of how, I didn't want to call it, I don't want to give it a name because I don't want YouTube to take it down. But anyway, so yeah, that really happened. All these stories are 100% true. I got many more just like that. And if you like what you see, give me a like. Definitely subscribe. I got some cool stuff coming up. I'm going to be able to do, and I'm working on way more things than what I thought I was going to do when I initially thought of this channel. So I got some really nice stuff coming for you. I got some ASMRs coming for you. I got more crazy stories, funny stories, sad stories. I got it all. Anything that you want to see or want to talk about in the DC area, I know it all. I've been through it all. Just let me know. But do it in the comments so we can get some little discussion going. All right? Thanks for tuning in.